There are 4 elements, and when you apply them in the right order, they don't just increase attraction, they turn you into a frigging sexual magnet. And before we get into it, I want to clarify that this video isn't just a nerd theory crafting in mommy's basement. I've been doing this for 10 plus years and I've got plenty of footage to prove anything I say. With that out of the way, let's jump straight into it with the first element, worthiness. Worthiness is simple and it is extremely critical, but it is not easy. It's about how you feel about yourself in the presence of an attractive woman. And something I hear quite a lot is, yeah, Louis, with average girls, I'm pretty smooth to be honest, but when there's a really hot girl, I still mess up. Sounds familiar? Well, that's because your sense of worthiness changes depending what kind of woman you have in front of you. And if the woman in front of you is average, well, you're confident. But if the woman in front of you is stunning, suddenly you're anxious, you're cautious, maybe you're even needy, needless to say, all unattractive behavior. And so the truth behind this is that it's not really about how you see her, the woman in front of you, but it is about how you see yourself. So ask yourself, do you start to regulate your actions and your words in her presence? Well, if the answer is yes, that means you're putting her on a pedestal. You might be too careful, too nice, too clingy. You're giving your power away without you even noticing it. And if we dig a little deeper into this, you'll see that your worthiness is decided on 3 different layers. The first layer is what you have. This is the surface layer. It's your money, your muscles, and your looks. And sure, all of these things help, but trust me, they're just part of the puzzle. For example, when I first started this whole thing, I had none of them. I had really average looks. I was beyond broke and very mid-style, but still I succeeded. So what I want you to do is, if you focus on any of these things, and you're allowed to, then do it for yourself and not for your crush's approval. The second layer is what you do. It's your lifestyle. Are you living a life worth noticing? Or are you spending all week gaming and watching porn alone? Small new experiences like visiting a new town with friends or trying out a new sport. These are the things that make you feel richer, that make you feel more comfortable, that make you feel worthy of attention. And then the third layer is what you believe. And this is the deepest layer and honestly often the hardest one to fix. Here we have beliefs that you hold about yourself, beliefs that you hold about women, and these beliefs, honestly, they shape everything. For example, if you believe women only like rich and hot guys, and you are not a hot and rich guy, well then you're sabotaging yourself before the first word is even spoken. As a rule of thumb, you are only allowed to hold beliefs that you've actually tested. And this is something that we abide by in our coaching, because honestly, too often I hear guys say bullshit like, dating apps only work if you're jacked, dating apps only work if you're tall, dating apps only work if you're handsome, dating apps only blah 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 blah. Girls don't like me because I'm too old, I'm too short, I'm too different, I'm too something. And I'm like, well, how many women did you approach in the last year? How much effort did you put in your dating profile? And then often we discover that they've been holding these beliefs after using Tinder for just 2 weeks with a bunch of shitty selfies, and they've only approached 1 girl per month while being shit-faced. Look, this guy sure as hell thought that dating apps weren't for him until I made him enjoy the process and we turned him into this guy. Now you can bet your ass that his beliefs flipped around. And here comes my favorite part. If you looked at this and you caught yourself thinking, yeah, with a jaw like that, blah, 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 then you just made my point for me. And besides, this profile would also work without the job. Anyway, approach different women, try different angles, challenge your assumptions. Please, 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 please do yourself a favor and don't let your untested beliefs decide your reality. The second element is skill. If worthiness is internal, then skill is more external. Well, it is how you interact with women. Many guys, they'll think, oh, I just need a funny opener, or I just need to be good looking. False. I've coached a ridiculous amount of really handsome men that still struggle. Why? Skill. Keeping the conversation going. Teasing, leading, creating excitement. Most conversations will start neutral. Work, hobbies, routine, boring stuff. It becomes exciting when you inject little bits of unpredictability and emotion in your interaction. For example, if she asks, what do you do? Instead of the usual answer, you could say, well, I'm a reseller of secondhand toys on eBay. That's a bit more playful, a bit more odd, and definitely not what she predicted. And those little emotional twists are what make you memorable. And by the way, if you want more inspiration, more motivation, all sorts of examples and stories, you can jump on my daily newsletter. It is completely free. You'll get lines, you'll get bonus videos, you'll get dating lessons from my own experiences and my own stories. You can get it by getting any of the free downloads in the video description. And now we're on to element number 3, logistics. Skill and worthiness, they don't matter if your environment limits your opportunities. And that is what we call logistics. Even if you've got perfect worthiness and you've got perfect skill, but you live on a remote island or you're stuck at home, well, good luck finding your girl. And when I talk about logistics, this includes where you live, city, for example, versus countryside. It also includes work and social routines. Are you naturally put in situations surrounded by women? It includes mobility and availability. Can you go out easily? For example, I once had a client who drove Uber in a holiday town. He had average looks and honestly he had average skill, but he drove home women every night, summer after summer. And that's dozens of opportunities to practice your skills. And so skill alone didn't matter for him, but the logistics did. Me personally, I grew up in a 1,000 people village, and what I did is, as soon as I was 18, I moved to the biggest student city. And then what I did is I started doing these NGO sales to be forced to approach people on the street. Good logistics can make everything easier. Bad logistics, now you're fighting an uphill battle, and honestly sometimes a nearly impossible battle. Which brings us to element number 4, volume. Volume is how many opportunities you create. Because even with the perfect logistics, sorry guys, you still need to put in the work. And you could think of it as gym reps. You can have the skills, you can have the mindset, you can even have the perfect logistics. But if you're never approaching or you never have any matches on your dating apps, you're just not talking to girls, well, obviously, nothing's gonna happen. Volume is your repetition, approaching multiple women per week, consistent messaging, and putting yourself in social situations. And here's the good part. Every approach teaches you something. Every failure is progress. I like to compare it to lottery tickets. One ticket, very small chance. Hundreds of tickets, higher chance. But unlike the lottery, every approach makes your next odds slightly better, right? Repetition builds mastery. Okay, let's put it all together. First of all, we have worthiness. You want to feel confident and deserving in front of women. Next up, we have your skill. You want to be able to excite, comfort, and lead. Next up, we have your logistics. You want to be creating opportunities through your environment and your life setup. And last, definitely not least, we have your volume. Are you meeting and approaching often? Are you consistently practicing, right? Practice builds mastery. And the cool thing is that each element amplifies the others. For example, if you have weak worthiness, you're probably going to have weak skills. And if you have weak skills, you're going to have wasted opportunities. And if you have poor logistics, well, then you'll only have very limited chances. If you have no volume, you're going to have no results. Guys, I've coached many of you. And so here are some pitfalls that I see you guys jump in over and over again. Probably one of the biggest ones is ignoring the level of worthiness. Guys love focusing on looks and they love focusing on money, you know, work harder, go to the gym, but those things will not fix a low self-esteem. The next one is theory overload. Your skill does improve by watching videos like this, but only if you then apply what you've learned and take action. Thirdly, neglecting logistics. Sometimes the very best thing you can do for your dating life is to pack your shit and move. And number 4 is avoiding volume. A lot of guys love to overthink, and overthinking stops them from taking action. And without action, there is no volume. And without volume, there's going to be no result. As a final thought, I want to push you a little bit to apply this stuff consistently, because you will notice that opportunities really aren't as rare as you think as soon as you take action consistently. Every interaction becomes a chance to practice, prove, and to win. And if you want some help with this stuff, then I have something very cool for you, because what we're doing right now is that if you use the link in the video description and you set up a free dating strategy call, then you're allowed to bring either your dating profile or convos, screenshots of a conversation, or a story of an approach that you did in real life. And one of my coaches is going to analyze this together with you on the spot. And I swear these calls are super chill with none of that pushy sales shit. So take action, Do it now. Don't postpone. Take action. Thank you for watching.